first and foremost, thank you for obviously meeting us. So tell us, what is it like to work for CPP, and what is CPP?
Okay, right. So first of all, my name is Oliver Walter Laird. So CPP is it's a financial services business in its strictest terms. But really, what we do is we help business partners, banks, insurers, find out actually what their customer needs are for add-on products that are, add a value to the initial product. So if you've got a phone, do you want insurance around that, for example, screen damage, or do you want something around that gives you additional services if you lose your phone, for example? So what we do is we design additional products for the primary core products of financial institutions, such as banks and insurers. What's it like working here? It's great. It's actually a bit of a turnaround at the moment. It's had its problems in the past, hence my arrival over the last 2 years. So, we're spending a lot of time on culture, changing the culture of the organisation, having a focus rather away from the UK on the countries that are around the world. So our job here, my job, is actually to service those countries. It's about them. It's not about me saying to them, you can do this, you can't do that, you can do this, etc. It's about me saying, well, if you want to do that, have you thought about this? If you'd like to do this, have you thought about looking at it this way? And then we're a listed business, so there is a lot of investor relations as well that we have to undertake. But, hopefully you'll get a feel as you look around the office as well, is that we're a very driven organisation, very focused organisation. But culture is a lot about having fun and enjoying it. And one of the main things I always say is we like to work with people we like. There's plenty of things we can do in life, plenty of things everyone can do in life. Enjoy the bits you're doing and make sure you make some money out of it.
Great, fantastic. So, of course, obviously with the cultural changes and everything inclusive, and in that light, what is your kind of typical recruitment process, and how do you go about recruitment?
Our recruitment process, we deliberately try to be diverse in our recruitment process. So, for example, in the finance, and I have finance, legal, risk and compliance, internal audit, and tax within my remit as well. I've got one other, but I've forgotten what that is. And when during my time, we've actually tried to be more inclusive in our recruitment process. Certainly, I deliberately tried to recruit more women into the business, and we've succeeded in doing so. So we've got in our team, we've got a more of 60-40 split with women. As we recruited, we tried also to be, more diverse in our recruitment methods. So we're quite happy to have people work from home. We're quite happy to have people working 4 days a week. We're quite happy to have people working shortened hours. And for us, it's about having the right person and getting the job done. I suppose where we have failed, I don't think, if I look in the corporate centre, I'm the only black person here. We have quite a few people who are Asian, some third generation Asian from Indian or Pakistani backgrounds, but I'm the only black person, so I think we should be doing more than that. Having said that, we're an international organisation, so given that we're in India, China, Mexico, places as that, Singapore, etc., Turkey, we're quite a diverse organisation culturally from that point of view. And it's one of the things that, as part of our turnaround, we said is we don't want to go to places such as Turkey and actually put a Western methodology of doing business in Turkey and applying our rules and regulations necessarily to do business in Turkey. It's done a different way. Yes, we have core standards that we need to adhere to. Again, we're a UK listed business, so we need to make sure that all those things are dealt with properly. But, it's about them telling us culturally how business works in their region, and also what products fit their region.
Yeah, fantastic. So, what are your expectations for people, candidates that are wanting to join CPP or wanting to get on board with the business?
Yeah, we're always recruiting actually through one reason or another, just turnover. So, for example, at the moment we're recruiting someone in data governance, so we're a global data manager. We're recruiting an apprentice, which we've just recruited, and we're looking at someone else in finance. And there's a key thing that we look for is we want people who are going to be stars, who effectively want to grow, want to challenge, want to ask questions. I can teach them all the technical bits. They can go to college. If they want to become an accountant, they can go to college and become an accountant. If they want to do data, if they want to do tax, legal, all those technical bits we can work on with them, and as they gain experience, we can develop for them. Working in financial services is a very technical business. the key thing is they have to want to come in. They have to want, to ask questions. They have to want to challenge us. They have to want to grow. And I don't expect people to stay with us forever. Most of my jobs I've stayed in about 2.5 years, so I don't want to talk. But I want them to move on eventually. I want them to move on. I want them to do bigger and better things, which is why they have to have that star quality. Everything else we can teach, but if they haven't got that, then it's a real struggle for them. And also, how they fit into us as a team. They have to think to themselves, that work isn't the be all end all. That you come to work for a reason, and whatever that reason is, be it your family, be it financial reasons are all well and good. I absolutely applaud those as well. But whatever the reason is, you have to want to come and actually have a bit of fun doing it. Don't take it too seriously. We're not in a war zone. We're not in some of those situations. Respect what we are and actually enjoy it. So that's how people get into CPP. And so fortunately, we've been, I would say, successful in doing that. We haven't had to take actions, where people have come in and then we've had to remove them very often. So generally speaking, we've been quite successful, and people stay with us a long time. Hey, when you look around, what's not to like?
What's not to like? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, what makes CPP different, and what makes CPP stand out as an employer amongst other employers within the financial services?
Okay, so So anyone who's looking at this, who's been to a financial services company, will know what they're like. So I was finance director at First Direct Bank. I was finance director at Co-op Insurance Division. I was a director of finance at Lloyd's Banking Group. Finance director of a company called UK General, which is the country's largest insurance managing general agent. And they all have a rather consistent theme about them. They are very structured, in their approach to product development, very structured in their approach to bringing people in, very structured in their approach to the way they want to move the business forward, which makes them very rigid, unable to adapt, I think, to changing times. So when you've seen some of those institutions, and most of the ones you'll have heard mentioned have had troubles, and part of the reason I was brought into the institution was to fix those troubles, they're very rigid in their approach. It makes it difficult for them to change. So for us as an employer, we're none of those things. As you say, you walk in the office, you feel it different to start with. Okay, we talk about you can't see it, but when you go around, you look on our walls, you'll see these things that we culturally we adhere to. So we talk about consider it done, working together, being brave, keeping things simple, and courtesy and curiosity. Those are the things that we work towards. Well, those are the things as an employer we focus on. We're absolutely about results as well. In my time here, we've had double-digit growth in revenue. We've had the first growth in 8 years. We've gone over the 100 million mark. That double-digit growth will continue, and we're starting to generate profits. But we're not afraid also to make hard decisions. We've had to restructure the business on a number of occasions over the last 2 years, unfortunately involving some redundancies. But what that makes us is the ability to be flexible, to change, to adapt, and to meet the needs of individuals who come into the organisation. Some people want to have freedom to look at different parts of their roles differently.
What's it like being a CFO of CPP, and what's it like being a man in that position?
Yeah, well, I worked at different places, and the title means not very little because I worked at places I've been finance director, and we've had two employees working there. What's it like? Every day is different. The great thing is I get to make decisions. I get to help people grow. I get to help build a business. I think you can't forget the 3 things I would say. You can't forget that people are relying on you for their jobs, which is first and foremost. You can't really forget that you have certain financial regulations you must adhere to, you must apply to, and standards that you must uphold. And you also can't forget that most importantly, you're here to build a business, right? I'm not the most technical of accountants in the world. I can get by, but I'm no Deloitte or KPMG partner or anything like that. But I can build a business, and I can build a team. So that's what my day is like. It's all about helping those individuals and building a business.
What does a typical day or week look like in your day-to-day working life?
So what's the day starting like? Day always starts with emails, because for us being an international business, Mexico's 8 hours behind, China's 8 9 hours in front. So there's always something coming in with a question. That might be a question about a new piece of business. That might be a question about a particular accounting piece. It might be a particular question about an acquisition or investment. Always starts with an email. And then, what is a day like? As you go through the day, it's like most things, filled with meetings, but usually one-to-ones with, my direct reports, a term I hate, but anyway, my team. Okay, so we have that, and then those one-to-ones are all about understanding where they are in terms of how they're feeling about work, etc., and then problem solving. The start of the week, we usually start the week with a senior management executive team meeting where you get myself and the other two board members and a couple of senior leaders talking about, okay, what the week ahead holds and therefore what's going to be our focus for the week. As we go through the week, it tends to revolve around that. But because of what we are, because of, say, we're, really going through a regeneration process, the week tends to just go and be very, very different. It was a move from acquisitions to interim accounts, which we're in the process of. End of the week, we try to start winding it down a bit. Does anyone really want to do anything after 12 o'clock on a Friday? I certainly don't. So I'm struggling at that point in time. So that's how the week goes, which is, very changeable, I suppose, if I have to describe it.
So taking you back a few years, looking at your early days in your career, what would you say were the steps and stages you would applied to kind of put you in the position that you are in now in your career?
Okay. First, I would say always have a reason for changing your role. Okay, that reason again can be financial, it can be personal development, it can be whatever it is. But have a reason for changing your role, and that reason will mean that you will grow and continue to develop as an individual. I think for me, the elements of it was actually being in different sectors. So I worked in private sector, public sector, different types of industries, oil and gas, music, food, retail, etc. And what that does is it then gives you a way to find actually what you want to focus on. Because at some point in time, if you want to be a CFO, you do have to start focusing on types of industry. I would then say there's a couple of key lessons also. I would work in a small business, in an SME, because it's very different from working in a first direct, and you need to understand the different dynamics of the boards and individuals in those organisations. I think that's critical. And then there's a couple of lessons you need to learn. I think your first step as an FD, remember whatever the organisation is, cash is king. It's an old saying, but it is honestly to God true. And then last thing I would say, the other thing that I learned throughout all of those, and my mummy taught me as well, is respect for everyone. It could be someone who does the cleaning, it could be someone who's a purchase ledger, it could be, the chairman, etc. Now, they'll get their questions answered at different pace, but you show everyone the same level of respect and you learn from everybody. And I think those are the career steps that you take, whichever industries you choose to go into, and make sure you actually learn from each one and have a reason for each one.
Fantastic. So for that young individual that's looking to take out their start in a financial services career or accounting career, what would you say are the top tips you would give them to get to a position potentially where you are now?
Well, if my sons listen to me, because they're about that age, here's the advice I would give them. To be honest, is first of all, don't decide too soon. If you're doing A levels, or you're going to uni, certainly with A level, keep a breadth of choice, unless you're really sure what you want to do. So keep a breadth. Then when you get to uni, yes, if you want to go into the sciences, do physics. Yes, if you want to go into the arts, then do something at one of the art colleges or dance or something like that. But keep a breadth of it. Do something you're passionate about. Right? You can be really successful. Again, this is one of the things I've told my own family is there are people who are successful at everything, be it sports management, again, entertainment, singing, accountancy, law. If they're passionate about it, you can be successful, whatever your definition of successful is, at anything, And then also, when you're young, you tend not to listen to anybody. You tend not to take much advice. Keep doing that. Experience kills creativity sometimes. Keep not listening. Trying things, practicing things. See how it goes. You're working an awful long time in life, so do those things and see how it works out.
Thank you very much, Oliver, on behalf of myself and Careers UK, for obviously taking your time out today and our viewers as well. I'm sure we've got plenty of insight. Thank you.